Hello, Empowered Woman. Welcome to this episode of the Empowered Woman podcast. Today I announced a few fun things. Number one, you can now join drop-in classes in the Empowered Woman School. So if you're not ready to join the membership on an ongoing basis monthly, check it out. And number two, I will be doing monthly empowerment tips for each of the three personality types: thinkers, feelers, and doers. And this month, we are focusing on connections. What is the best advice for building relationships that advance your life and business? Go take the quiz first and then come back and listen. Let's dive in.
Welcome back to the Empowered Woman podcast, the #1 show on personal growth, visibility, and profit for women entrepreneurs. If you're wanting to start believing in yourself, giving yourself permission to succeed, and let your voice be heard to make an impact in the world as an entrepreneur, this is the place for you. I am so glad that you're here. My name is Marta Spurk, and I'm your host, triplet mom, woman empowerment coach, and all things motivation extraordinaire. Welcome again, and let's dive into today's episode.
All right, I feel like I should start with a little bit of a recap. First thing, the most recent thing is my Authority Showcase Summit went so amazing. Even before the event, I was already saying, I'm known to host some pretty bomb events. You'll want to be a part of this. And then sure thing, every single person, sponsors, the speakers, the attendees, everyone was like, Marta, how did you do this? It was seamless. Everything was so organized. I know you put a lot of work into it, but it just seemed so easy once you were doing it. It was a 3-hour virtual event, and I am so grateful to everyone that participated. You can still catch the replay. There was a lot of value. So just really quickly, because this is not the focus of the episode, but if you are an author and you're wanting to increase the reach of your book, and what I've been calling now leverage the longevity of your book, because you must, after all the work you put into publishing a book, you need to watch this, because not only do I share some valuable marketing tips, you also get to hear from 9 other authors, so 10 total, on what they've been doing to promote their books and leverage their books to grow their business. And secondly, if you're an aspiring author, if you haven't actually jumped into this opportunity, then even more so, you need to listen to this and watch this replay, because you will hear from people that did it. And there are so many different stories, different journeys, different topics, different niches, different timelines. So it'll be really encouraging for you to get a better grasp on what becoming a published author entails, okay? So you can catch the replay. I will post the link in the show notes, but if you just go to martaspurk.com/authority summit, you can purchase your replay. And I'm actually offering $10 off the replay because it's a recording. So if you use code author, you can get those $10 off. So that was incredible. And one of the things that I did in my masterclass, because I taught a short masterclass before I jumped into the interviews with the authors, is that I talked about the 3 different personality types that I created: the feelers, thinkers, and doers, and how the advice for each of them is different when it comes to publishing a book. In fact, the advice for each of them is different for everything because they operate differently. And once I started implementing this in my business and in my own life, things really changed, because I've learned to really respect the way that I am and respect the way that my clients are. And the more I use this framework and these personality types in everything I do, the more I see how my clients feel seen and how much more helpful it is, instead of trying to make them do things the way that I do. And I feel like in the coaching space, there's such a shift from cookie cutter, this is the formula, go ahead and do it just like I did it and you're going to be successful, to this is one way of doing things. See if you can put your own twist to it and make it work. And sometimes it won't, because we operate differently. And this is a lot of what I have been using in my business. I mean, pretty much ever since publishing my book and blasting the Enneagram on there, everything in my world is based on personality types. It's based on your unique perspective and your unique lens. And so for those of you who don't know, now a quick recap on what the quiz means. So in studying the Enneagram for the last 6 years, actually 5 years, I've fallen in love with it. It's helped me immensely in understanding my patterns and the way I operate. And I started using it in my coaching as well. But by no means saying that I was, a certified Enneagram coach or even calling myself an Enneagram coach. I am an Enneagram expert, but this is just one facet of my business. But I've observed that many people don't dive in as much as I do and how much I love the Enneagram because it is intimidating. There are 9 personality types. However, there are different ways of grouping these 9 personality types so that you can find some common characteristics among some of the types to make it easier to study all of them. So this is what I did. One of the ways of grouping the 9 personality types in the Enneagram has to do with their stances, their outlook in life. And in identifying these 3 stances that are dependent, withdrawn, and aggressive, I came up with feelers, thinkers, and doers. So feelers are the dependent stance, and they correspond to types 1, 2, and 6 on the Enneagram. The thinkers are the withdrawn stance, and they correspond to types 4, 5, and 9 on the Enneagram. And finally, the doers, which is my type, they are the aggressive types, and that's their stance, and they correspond to types 3, 7, and 8, and I am type 3. So if you read my book, none of this is too foreign to you, and if you know the Enneagram as well. And so the reason why I created the quiz was to simplify and to show people how important it is to set themselves apart from others, especially mentors, and in the client relationship, also marriage, personal relationships as well, to then start seeing things from other people's perspectives and stop taking things as personally. If there's one lesson that I've learned in life, but especially in business, is to learn to stop or make a great effort to stop taking things personally, because literally we see the world differently. So why? Why would you take offense, So the first step really is taking this quiz to figuring out where you fall. Obviously, if you already know your Enneagram type, you already know which one of the 3 personality types you are. And I am so happy to tell you that ever since I launched this quiz, which now I need to go back and look, but I'm pretty sure it was in March, I've had over 200 people take the quiz. And in everything that I do, in every conversation that I have, it ends up being brought up. And people say, oh, by the way, I'm a feeler. Oh, by the way, I'm also a doer like you. And this was one of the things that I mentioned in the Authority Summit. So it was really interesting to see how the different personality types matched their journey in terms of publishing their book and all of that. So I highly encourage you to go take this quiz. Go to martasbook.com. It's on the homepage, or you can just go to martasbook.com/quiz. Now, the other thing, which goes hand in hand with my membership, the Empowered Woman School, is that I have been focusing on these 3 types in everything that I teach, even inside the school. And this is part of one of the fun announcements that I have, is that I know the value of this membership. My members know the value of this membership. I want you to experience the value of this membership. And I know that sometimes a monthly commitment can feel a little bit daunting. And here I am, just like what I did with the quiz, I am reducing the risk for you. And I want you to experience the membership via a drop-in class. So you can come and watch some of our classes, co-working sessions, guest expert sessions, and decide if it's a fit for you. Okay, so I have the link in the show notes for that as well. You'll also be added to our Facebook group for 7 days and get the hang of it. But the reason why I'm saying this is because the way that I organize the content in my school is that every quarter we go through 3 different topics. We talk about mindset 1 month. Month 2, we talk about strategy. So especially when it comes to marketing, different pieces of your business. And then on month 3, we talk about connections, all through the lens of the 3 personality types. So it's pretty amazing because we're constantly going back to these 3 pillars, because think about it. When you're doing anything in your business, everything overlaps with your mindset, with the strategy that you're using, and the people you're connecting. Because if you're in business, you need to connect with people, right? You need to network. You have clients. You need to talk to people, period. So how does that go? Depending on what your personality type is, depending on what your strengths and your weaknesses are. So this month specifically, in June, we are talking connections. Everything has been referrals, building your network? Is there a structured way of doing it? Do you lean into your intuition? And what I wanted to do now is every single month come here on the podcast, and I'll be sending out an email talking about my top tips when it comes to that month's theme through the eyes of each of the 3 personality types. So that's why the very first step is for you to go and take the quiz. Like I said, over 200 people have taken it, and it's been pretty spot on, and it's been eye-opening for everyone that's taken it. I've gotten amazing feedback. So go in and take it, figure out if you're a feeler, thinker, and doer. Next step is listen to my monthly empowerment tips for each type, but also join the Empowered Woman School. It's $37 a month. You can cancel it at any time. But if you don't want to commit to the $37 to join for the month and recurring charges, which you can cancel at any time, you could drop in for $67, watch one of the sessions, and I've been talking about the topics and who's coming in to teach all of that on social media and email. And then you could get to stay for 7 days and see if you enjoy the community. And one of the reasons why I did this, honestly, is because I love networking. And it's interesting because this month we're talking about networking. I love networking. I love connecting with people. I'm an extrovert extraordinaire. And I'm a part of a polka dot powerhouse. I've already told you that. And I visited a couple different networking groups this month. And it's made me realize the power of being a part of different communities. Not spreading yourself too thin by any means, but it's important for us to connect. And this will look different for each personality type. But regardless, I see the value in my membership, and I'm in the space of why not me? Why not my group? If you're willing to join other groups to connect, to grow your business, to find referrals, to make partnerships, consider the Empowered Woman School. And I removed the risk by giving you the option of a drop-in. All right. So without further ado, let's talk about some empowerment tips, empowerment hacks for each of the 3 personality types when it comes to connections, when it comes to building relationships to advance in your life and business. So feelers, just a quick recap. I'll give a quick description of each of them and then talk about the connections. Feelers, they are the most reliable type. They're reliable because they play by the book. They follow the rules. It's a matter of integrity. It's not about what are others going to think or see. They want to be at peace with themselves. They want to know that they did the right thing, which can get overly critical of themselves. Okay, but that's the basic premise. And their basic and the most prominent underlying fear is the fear of feeling unsafe. They want to know that they're safe. How do you know that you're safe? You play by the rules and you don't take any risks, or you minimize risk, okay? So for feelers, when it comes to connections, feelers, they genuinely care because it is a matter of integrity. They are not known to lie or to exaggerate as much as the other types would. I mean, everyone is prone to lie. But when it comes to their character, they pride themselves in being upright. So in a connecting situation, if you're a feeler, leading with your integrity and the fact that you genuinely care about others is enough, because the way that you are built makes it so easy for you to show that you're interested in people, to put them first. Feelers, again, because of their connections with their sensitivity and their emotions, they're natural empaths. And so it is very easy for them to connect with people. In fact, dare I say, feelers are natural coaches, because they have that dependent stance. So knowing this about yourself, if you are a type 1, 2, and 6, if you are a feeler, I want to encourage you to get on out there, because some feelers may be introverted. I would say feelers are kind of like a mix of introverts, extroverts, ambiverts, whereas the other 2 types are more specific, and I'll get to that in a minute. Get on out there and just know that you are going to be perceived as somebody that is upright, somebody that people can trust, because that's the energy that you exude. So lead with that. And that's networking one-on-one, is being more interested than interesting. So you have an amazing advantage feeler play on that, okay? Now, thinkers. Quick recap description of thinkers. Thinkers are withdrawn. They are majority introverts. They are creatives. They are the stereotypical artists, right? They have brilliant minds, but they have a hard time exteriorizing that. Okay? So connections are particularly harder for them because the underlying fear of thinkers is a fear of rejection. If I put myself out there, if I stand out too much because I am so eccentric and unique, there is the possibility of rejection. So what do they do to avoid that? They don't step out. So what is the advantage for thinkers here in the networking and in the connection space? Thinkers are naturally very observant because they live inside their minds so much. So it's very easy for thinkers to be thoughtful. Imagine that. So if you just engage more, if you take that risk, and if you step out to connect with people, it'll happen naturally. Again, you have this advantage. Feelers have the advantage of genuinely caring and being interested, which is amazing for networking. And thinkers, your advantage is that you pay attention to detail. And sorry, kids screaming. Summertime. So you have this advantage of being very thoughtful because you pay attention to the details. So use that to your advantage to connect with others and say, I remembered you liked this. I remember in our last conversation you said this. This is so easy for thinkers. So exteriorize that. You're already paying attention. Just open your mouth, reach out to people and say it, and they're going to appreciate you for it. Now, my friendly doers, because I'm a doer too, so I'm totally calling myself out on this one. Doers are action takers. They are determined as heck. They will accomplish double, triple of what most thinkers and feelers do. That's not to say that they're better in any capacity. That's just the nature of these beasts, okay? They're aggressive. That's why. And so wait, hold up. I was going to talk about in the context of connections, but first, what is the downfall for doers? The downfall is their fear of not being enough. So that's why they do so much, is to fill that never-ending void, that they have this hard time in recognizing that they are enough, that they've done enough. So they just keep pursuing the next thing, pursuing the next thing, pursuing the next thing. If you're type 3, 7, and 8, you understand what I'm talking about here. So while from the outside, people see you doing all these things and they think you're great, inside you're still thinking, it's not enough, I need to do more. So keeping that in mind, though, in the context of connections, doers, they have a presence. They are the people that walk in and they light up the room because they're extra. They are extra. That's just who they are. This is how they behave. This is how they operate. So people are naturally drawn to you. Pay attention to this, doers. You don't have to do a whole lot for people to come and want to connect with you. My tip for you, my advice for you, doer, is to actually allow them in. It is very hard for doers to show vulnerability. Thinkers, easy time. Feelers, easy time. They're empaths. But for doers, it's harder because they're like the soldier on a mission. I'm not going to show vulnerability. I have something else to accomplish. Excuse me. So the ticket here for doers, especially when connecting with people, and you can use this, by the way, in your personal relationships, and please do, with your spouse, with your family, but especially as we're talking about here, like networking context, is let your vulnerable side show. And this is something that I have been really leaning into in my life and business, and many people have been praising me the last few years, saying, Marta, I love how real you are. And I got to tell you, it wasn't always like this. I've put up so many different walls and shields and armors so that people would know that I have flaws, so that I could just accomplish the next thing and be adored by all, when at the end of the day, if I don't adore myself, nothing matters. So that's a doer's journey for you. So let me know, was this helpful? I'm going to be doing this monthly to talk about mindset, strategy, and connections. I want you to get on out there and network. And finally, join the Empowered Woman School or drop in for a class so that you can, dive in deeper into the nuances of these 3 types when it comes to all facets and areas of your business. Thanks so much for tuning in today. I hope this was so helpful for you in your networking efforts. Let me know. Please connect with me on social media. Send me a message and say, Marta, this episode was amazing because of X, Y, and Z. I want to hear your takeaways. I want to connect with you. Just reach out to me on social media. Send me an email at contact@martasburg.com. And please, please, please take the quiz. Okay? All the links in the show notes. Until next time. Bye.